George Russell wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Shane Van Gisbergen wins in Mexico in NASCAR. And, well, we had quite the finish in the Formula One race. You have the McLarens colliding. You have Red Bull whining. And then on the NASCAR side, you have just a absolute total dog walking. Like traditional Formula One margin of victory on the NASCAR side. But let's dive into the Canadian Grand Prix first. So, as I said, George Russell gets win number 4 of his career. First one of the season, first one for Mercedes. His teammate, Kimi Antonelli, gets his first podium of his most certainly going to be long and illustrious career. And then you have Max right in the middle. And when you put Max and George together, there is always going to be something that they're going to be complaining about back and forth because it's Red Bull, it's Mercedes, Christian Horner, strong personality, Toto Wolff, strong personality, Max, strong personality, George, strong personality. So the race ended under safety car, and we'll get in the whole McLaren thing here in a few minutes. But anyway, so George coming down, and this is coming to the checkered flag. I mean, safety car's out, the race is over, it's done. But they're coming down off the they're coming down to the chicane into Champion's Corner. Right before that, because they had to go through they were going through the pit lane to give the safety crew time to get Lando's car out of there. And Max pulls out of line, kind of goes up by George Russell, and Russell just out of nowhere just slams on the brakes like he's about to hit a squirrel. Which, believe it or not, there's a story on that, and we'll get to that as soon as we can. But anyway, so George slams on the brakes. Max gently goes by, slams on his brakes, and George goes on by. Max comes on the radio. Why'd he slam on the brakes? And he's more than 10 car lengths back of the safety car. He can't do that. George, on the other hand, Max overtook me under safety car. He can't do that. Like, oh my goodness. Like, was Russell taking notes during 2021 between Max and Lewis? Like, oh my God. This is like straight out of the 2021. You have Max complaining on the radio. Lewis is complaining on the radio. Christian's yelling at the FIA. Toto's yelling at the FIA. Like, oh my Lord. And then to pile it on, Red Bull throws about 1,500 different protests to the FIA about George Russell. The FIA kicked it out like within a couple hours. There was never any real doubt, at least from a social media perspective. You wanted to get real cheeky? You penalized both George for being 5 seconds for not keeping pace with the safety car, being outside that 10-second range. And you penalized Max Verstappen for overtaking George Russell under the safety car. And if you want to get even more wild, we had several cars that were passing under the safety car after they crossed the checkered, which you cannot do. And I can't remember all of them that were doing that. I'm almost positive. I know Kimi was one of them. I don't know if it was both Ferraris, but it was a absolute mess. The I don't think we've ever seen the FIA so doggone busy trying to make sense of this mess. And like, I know Kimi was one of them. I don't think the Ferraris were. Either way, it was a total, absolute mess. So it's not wanting to load. So, but this could have been a real mess, and I don't think Oscar was one of them that was passing under the safety car, technically. So if you if you wanted to cause a real uproar, and the FIA could have done it if they wanted to, you penalize George, penalize Max, penalize Kimi for all their legitimate infractions, and Oscar ends up winning the race, crossing the line fourth. Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton rounding out the podium. Or no, it would have still been George if all would have been 5 seconds. It would have still been George. So that would have been wild. I would have laughed at it. I would have thought it's absolutely hilarious. But I mean, it could have been a really interesting situation. Luckily, the FIA isn't doing that, and we get to move on without any funny business. But Max Verstappen, he had, thank God, other than that, during the race, from lights out to checkered flag, very quiet, just hanging around in second place, trying to short pit, trying to find some way to get around George. Was unable to do that, and that's about the extent of it. And thank God nothing happened. Thank God. And then we get to the McLarens. Oscar Piastri. Obviously, somebody's missing. That would be Lando. You gotta scroll down a little bit. He's all the way down here. He is classified in 18th, since he did finish. I think the number is like 90% of the race, or 85%, something like, it might be 75. Either way, he was classified with a finish of 18th. Is credited with the DNF. Well, because he tried to fit a square peg in a round hole. Going into one, they both had the DRS, courtesy of Kimi Antonelli. Lando dives to the inside where there is no pavement. He has a knack for doing stuff like that, going where the pavement isn't. Like, it's gonna actually work. This is the second time he's done it this year. As you remember, coming off the pit road in Japan with Max, he veered off into the grass to try to get around Max off pit road. So, I don't understand what Lando was thinking here. And it's not like the track changes. It's been like that, and I get that he's desperate, but better decisions need to be made. And I have said over and over and over again, especially on my TikTok, which I'll see if I can get a link in the description, that he will never be a world champion. He will never be a champion. He'll never be the driver's world champion. He does not have it. Max has it. Oscar has it. George may very well have it. But Charles, he certainly has it. Charles Leclerc has it. Lando Norris, he doesn't have it. Panic sets in. Desperation sets in. And he makes stupid decisions. He begins to crumble. We've seen it time and time and time again. And it's the reality. He just continued. It's time and time again. Q3, you see it all the time with him putting it into the wall. In Saudi Arabia, I think it was. I mean, the pressure is on. Lando disappears. Elvis leaves the building. And Oscar, he rises to the occasion. I mean, the defensive driving that he was doing, it wasn't defensive driving. He was just driving. And the way that he was driving, he was able to keep Lando behind him while still catching back up to Kimi to get the DRS so he doesn't have to drive defensively on Lando. And it's brilliant racecraft. And I mean, Oscar's winning the championship. Like, he's got the car, he's got the mental fortitude, and I'm the nickname that I'm giving Oscar is the Iceman. You cannot shake him. You cannot rattle him. If you don't get rattled by Max Verstappen, you're not getting rattled. And he has not been rattled by anything Max has done. He is unintimidatable. You cannot force him into a mistake because he doesn't make mistakes. Oscar, he's going to win a championship. He's going to win a lot of championships. We may be entering the era. We are entering the era of Oscar Piastri. The only question is anybody going to be able to get championships in during his era? Nobody was able to do it. Nobody's been able to do it with Max. In his, class of George, Max, George, Charles, Pierre. Nobody's been able to dethrone Max, and it looks like it's going to take the next class of Oscar, Kimi, Lindblad, that class. I would say Behrman, Isaac, Lawson. I mean, it's Oscar's world. I've said it over and over again. As this is, you look at the standings here. This is post Canadian Grand Prix, and you see 198 to 176, 22 points now separate Oscar and Lando, and 21 points separate Lando and Max. So now we kind of got that double gap between 1, 2, and 3. And I mean, Lando's not making that gap up. He's not. Max, he's not making that up. Red Bull has thrown up their hands. They're done. They're done with the upgrades. There's nothing more they can do to this car. It is all on Max to literally put everything on his back, try to make up that 43-point deficit, which he's not going to do. The only question is going to be, does Mercedes make up the 19-point gap between George and Max? That would allow Max to leave Red Bull at the end of the season. It's not going to happen by the time they go on the summer break. I think that ship sailed. But by the end of the year, it is very plausible. And if that happens, then who knows what gates open. And then, in the Constructors' title, McLaren, they still have a very, very, very healthy lead. Oh, well over 100 points. 25 points? 125? And then Ferrari, and then you have Red Bull. Oh, very, very wide gap. And then, so, we got all that out of the way. Now, we got the Ferraris. Horrific strategy by the Ferraris with Charles Leclerc. They were having him hit so late. Never really had an opportunity to truly race Lando Norris. The Ferrari pit wall was just absolutely inadequate today. Inexcusable. As per Ferrari, inexcusable. Lewis Hamilton, oh my goodness. If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. Very early in this race, Lewis had hit a squirrel. It had messed up the suspension and affected the airflow the remainder of the race. And Ferrari, instead of trying to fix that front wing, they said deal with it. Luckily, they were still able to come home with points. And then Fernando Alonso, he comes in, he gets points. He's finally on the board. He might have been on the board beforehand. On the board beforehand? Was. Yeah, he was. So, he takes his point total from 6 to 8. Or from 2 to 8. Passing Oliver Behrman and Liam Lawson. With his solid day. Esteban Ocon. Or Nico, he's in the points. For Sauber. Esteban Ocon. And then Carlos Sainz finishing out the points. Williams not having the best of days. Something went wrong with Albon's car. Albon was really upset. He was getting fiery over the radio, and for Alex, you got to go real far for him to be that upset over the radio. And then Ollie Behrman just outside the points. Yuki just outside of the points. I mean, this second car for Red Bull, it's been horrendous. I get that he started off the pit lane, but you're in a damn Red Bull. You cannot be finishing outside the points this often. And Yuki is still sitting at 10 points. His RB counterpart has doubled him up with 21, and he did not have a good day. Isaac finished well outside the top 10. Finished 16th. And your junior team driver in the number 2 in the second car has your second seat on the big boy team doubled up. I mean, I would say like something's got to change with that second seat, but there is literally nothing to do. You do not want to bring up Isaac and completely ruin that. You are stuck with Yuki. You're going to have to ride him all the way to the end. And next year, you got to go with what you have. That's where you make the decision. Granted, assuming Max stays, do you go with Isaac? Do you go with Lindblad? Do you stick with Yuki? I don't know. That's going to be a topic for another day. So. And then that's quite all that I really care to talk about in as far as that particular finishing order. But we did get other news. Alvin Lindblad, Red Bull's one of Red Bull's junior drivers in the academy. I think he's an F2. He was granted a super license, albeit being 17. He has the points for it and was granted to him. Now, many people are going to say, it, and it's just as stupid. But what about Colton Herta? It's because he's American, isn't it? No, he didn't have the points. There is a very large difference between having the points and being 17 and not having the points to get the super license. And like, I get it. There is a bit of anti-American sentiment within the walls of the FIA, especially pertaining to the whole global Andretti stuff, and that is a discussion that needs to be had, and we will have at a different time. But Lindblad's got the points, so. Good. It's the right decision, and that's why the waiver was given. The F1 should have come out and said exactly that, instead of just kind of staying shrouded behind and letting fans complain every single time someone gets granted something special. And, oh, what about Colton Herta? What about Pat O'Ward? What about this, that, the other? It's like, come on, dude. So. And then the F1 2026 calendar was released. And quite frankly, and so everybody's getting all riled up about two things. One, Imola is out. The street course in Barcelona is it Barcelona? Either Barcelona or Madrid. And I think it's Barcelona. Anyway, the street course in Spain is in, Imola is out, and everybody is complaining because it was not supposed to go that way. Everybody was expecting that the street course was going to replace the purpose-built road course in Spain, and it was just going to be one race in Spain. That obviously did not happen. And I am actually fine with it. I'm always interested to attempt new things. Imola, very hit and miss on the racing, especially with there only being one DRS zone. In the F1 game, I love racing in Imola. I do. I'm very good there. But I I think it's the right move. I do. And then the other thing everybody's getting all up in arms about is the Canadian Grand Prix going head to head with the Indy 500 on Memorial Day weekend. Now, there are a couple different ways to approach this. You have the fact that everybody's got a laptop. Everybody's got the ability to stream. Everybody essentially has the ability to screen mirror and put up two separate screens. If they do overlap, that is the route that you would obviously take. And also, most guys, especially in the world of F1, who have a man cave and go and watch, there are multiple TVs because there are multiple things to keep an eye on. So I would not be, I'm not too concerned if they do run up against each other. But I think the smart move is for IndyCar to move that race up 1 hour. And then for the F1 to come in and have like a 3 o'clock start time, 4 o'clock start time. And get that race squeezed in between the 500 and the 600. That is the way that I am interpreting it. Obviously, IndyCar is not going to move their date, their time. So you got a fine window in between. And it is most certainly the right move to try to put the Canadian Grand Prix in between the Coke 600 and the Indy 500. And I think that's what the actual intention is. Making Memorial Day weekend even better than what it has been in years past, since Monaco has been a cure for insomnia. So, that is all the big news out of the world of F1. So moving on to NASCAR. Shane Van Gisbergen absolutely dominates, winning by 16.5 seconds. He led 60 of the 100 laps. Ty Gibbs had the second most laps led with 27. And then everybody else had less than 5. Christopher Bell, he ran his way through the field, and along with Alex Bowman. But Shane Van Gisbergen, he was sick coming into this race. He was sick. He was on the floor. Media appearances canceled. He was going through it. But the thing is, with race car drivers, once they get into that office, they strap in, get the helmet down, flip that visor down. Nothing else matters. You're no longer sick. You're no longer hurling. You are a race car driver. You are in your happy place. And especially for someone like Shane, on a road course, yeah, there's your escape. You're no longer sick. You're finally alive. And that is what we saw. Because there was nothing stopping Shane. It did rain early on, but that dissipated very, very quickly. Once that did, Shane had it. Shane was gone. And he did not look back. Now, John Hunter Nemechek in the Legacy and with Legacy Motorsports and Michael McDowell Spire, big finishes for those two today. 5th and 6th is right there. Big day for those two. Really cool. Really good to see the improvement from Legacy Motorsports. The consistency with especially Legacy and with Spire, mostly through Hocevar, but McDowell's the road course guy. And you're seeing that consistency build with those two teams and seeing them slowly grow together. We're gonna get a win or two out of Hocevar, more than likely this year. We could very well see Eric Jones steal one at some point. It's coming. It is coming. Then Ty Gibbs finally showed a little bit of life. Showed that he might actually be worth doing this for a living instead of relying on granddad's team and relying on your last name. I mean, we're at that point in time where he should be clicking off wins. He had the second fastest car of the day. He burned up his tires and fell outside of the top 10. I would understand if he's a rookie. I would even understand if he's a second-year guy. But Ty Gibbs has over 100 Cup starts under his belt. You can't be doing that. You need to be better than this. Completely and totally unbelievable. I thought Ty Gibbs was going to come in and set the world on fire, and he has not done that. It has been Ty Gibbs has been an absolute bust, and if that wasn't JGR's grandson, he would undoubtedly be looking at other places and be looking to replace him. Then we got the soon-to-be charterless club. Starting off, looks like Bubba Wallace is the highest finishing of 2311. And that whole situation is probably going to get out of control. That lawsuit, the judge throwing out the injunction to keep 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to be charter teams and be treated as such. And I believe the deadline for that is the 27th. I don't know. I didn't exactly read the documents. But, I mean, if you're Michael Jordan, are you going to sit here and continue to deal with this? No. Not. No, he's got a million other things that he could do. And you're going to let somebody with the branding skills and the popularity of Michael Jeffrey Jordan, with the name brand recognition, walk out that door over tens of millions of dollars? He's got billion-dollar franchises with his logo. And not only are you willing to let him walk, you are willing to let him walk with disdain. And Michael Jordan is not one to just sit in his billion-dollar mansion and pout. He is vengeful, he is petty, he is coming. So let's not take their charters and make this a bigger mess than what it already is. That'd be great. So that's all that. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Cup standings, shall we? Well, still got William Byron at 1. Larson still at 2. Bell moves up along with Elliott. Hamlin dropping since he didn't race. And that's a issue that I will discuss here in a few minutes, but I got to make this point first. Let's take a look to see where the new winner is at. The newest winner. The newest. The latest and greatest. He's sitting 30th in points. Here he is. 30th in points. He has 3 top 10s. Or no, not even. Here you go. He's got more DNFs than he does finishes. And that was his first top 5 of the year yesterday. I mean, come on. We're really going to absolutely deteriorate what's left of this playoff by allowing a simple win and in. Yeah, Shane's going to finish no higher than 20th in points in the best possible scenario. But guess what? He's in the playoffs and he's finishing 16th or better. And if he can survive the first round some way, somehow, he's probably going to make it to the round of 8. Because Charlotte Roval is in round 2. I believe it's in round 2. But nonetheless, yeah, this shouldn't be a thing. He's sitting 30th in points. He is behind Justin Haley, who's had to switch crew chiefs mid-season. Austin Dillon, Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, Ty Gibbs, who we were just talking about, who should be getting serious consideration on getting moved off. Legacy Motor Club, Ricky Stenhouse, who has been beaten and banging and battered, had all sorts of unholy stuff happen to the poor guy by Carson Hocevar. And yeah, I mean, you cannot be allowing your playoff to be that watered down. That's why I don't get excited anymore whenever we do get a situation like that. It's not so much of, oh my God, he won, he got his first win of the year, or whatever the case may be. It's, oh my God, he just stole a playoff spot from somebody that might actually have a shot at winning if they got hot right. And that's what we're going to see. We need to go back to the old system. The Winston Cup system. Where the whole season mattered. And if you got that underdog win, it was a good feeling. It wasn't, oh crap, that just steals a spot away from somebody who should actually deserve to be in. Let's go back to the old system. Now there's this individual on X. God bless him, because I do not have the time or the patience to do this. But this is what the standings would look like if it was the Winston Cup Series, under the Winston Cup Series format. William Byron would still be the championship leader, followed by Bell, who would be 36 points back, which is well within a race. It's well within the race. Larson, 119 back. Elliott, 136 back. Chastain, 202 back. Chase Briscoe, 288 back. Hamlin, 290. Reddick 303, Blaney 395, and Joey Logano rounding out top 10, 409 back. And like that's the way that it's supposed to be done. That is, I mean, with that you get the weekly storylines. The points matter right away because you got to keep track of that. Because everybody's jockeying for some sort of position, whether it be for status or for cash. And you have the 35 and point owner rule. I mean, so many storylines that you can make doing this. But here we are. No race during the regular season matters. You just have to win one. And you're in the playoff. And, I mean, Shane in this system, 775 points back in 30 seconds. Does that sound like a player, somebody that should be competing for a championship at this current point in time? No. Go back to the old system. Give us the week-to-week storyline of the point standings. That way they actually matter. They mean something. Each race is an event. You don't need to rely on Amazon Prime to make this feel like an event. It is an event. It is a new chapter in the story of 2025. That is the way that you want to present this. You can't do that when whatever happens the last race is completely irrelevant to this race. Because all you got to do is win, you're in. Whether it be by luck, something. But here we are. Here we are. So I will continue to keep track of this Winston Cup standings. You can too. It's NASCAR Winston Cup Series on X, and I will just throw the link down below in the description on YouTube and on Rumble. And I believe that is all. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. I believe that's everything. So, if you haven't already, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, download the podcast on any major podcasting platforms. You can also see me on YouTube or on Rumble. And we will see you guys next time. A Dylan Hoda Show, where we cover motorsports, football, politics, pop culture, movie reviews. We're doing it all. Now, in a few weeks, I will be doing a review on the F1 movie. And I might do one on Megan 2.0. I do like horror movies. It is something that I want to try. Let me know in the comments if that is something that I should try. Doing horror movie reviews. Well, movie reviews in general. I did do one a while ago. The Sound of Freedom. That is somewhere on my YouTube channel. So go find it. And yeah, I'm gonna try to make this a daily thing. And covering either motorsports, something with football, something in the political world. I'm going to try to do this every single day. I am making some changes and to make it easier to do this. And we'll go from there. So, until next time, see you guys later.